Welcome to the Soberish Uprising. My name is Holly Crevo, a former heavy drinker who started a Soberish Uprising of her own over 2 years ago, and everything in her life has changed. On Soberish Uprising, we tell stories of finding freedom from alcohol on our own terms, making it our best power move. Today, I am joined by Lori Howes, founder of House of Soul. Good afternoon.
Hi. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so glad to have you. We're Facebook friends, and we connected really briefly, probably almost a year ago at a women's empowerment retreat. And so you posted a couple of times about sober. And so I was like, oh, you have to come on. And so this is our first time connecting. So I'm going to learn just like everybody else is about your journey. So thank you for being willing to come on and talk about it.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, good. First of all, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you in the world? What do you do in the world? And just maybe give a little insight into who you are.
Yes. So my name is Lori Howes, and I live in Waco, Texas, just right outside Waco, Texas. And I just recently got certified in Tracy Litt's Mind Magic work. So now I am a certified master mind magic practitioner. And I am just bringing this amazing work into the world, and, healing, growing, and expanding is my jam. And I want to help everyone else do the same. So that is what I'm doing now. I just retired from 12 years in the beauty industry as a manicurist, microblade artist, and lash extension artist. So this is something new for me, but it's definitely a journey I've been on for quite some time.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, congratulations. That's exciting. Lots of big changes for you.
Yes.
Well, I'm curious. So you had posted, I'm curious, how long have you been sober?
Honestly, just since June 25th of this year.
Okay.
So just a few months. Yeah.
Cool. Well, tell me what prompted that decision to go sober.
It is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I was not a heavy drinker. It was more like socially. I had started to buy more wine to keep at home, and I found myself celebrating a lot, and so as all of the celebrations started to happen, I was drinking more and more because I was like, ooh, we need to celebrate because this happened, and that warrants a glass of wine. And so that's what was happening. Well, my body was rejecting the alcohol, and every time I would drink, I would feel bad. I would have headaches. I would feel sluggish and just not my best self. And I just kept asking myself, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
Why do I keep, putting something in my body that my body is just naturally, rejecting? And I had struggled with that decision for a couple of years. I would I would go on breaks of 30 days not drinking, and then I would start back. And after doing mind magic and going through certification and up leveling and expanding and evolving into my higher self, I realized that I was doing myself a disservice. But I was also doing my friends and family and my clients a disservice as well, because what I want to bring into this world and the changes that I want to make in this world, I need to be connected to my higher self and to God and to source all the time. I can't be in a situation where I'm not fully connected. And that was what changed for me. I realized that, alcohol takes me out of alignment. Yeah.
Period. Right. Like
Period.
it just, yeah. That's interesting. So was there anything did you have an awareness on that date, or was it just kind of a long journey of like, no, this is going to be it. We're going to see what that looks like.
It had been a long journey, and I was coming out of immersion and some other places of personal development and growth. And it was my sister's birthday weekend. and we were celebrating again as we do all the time. And I just was drinking that weekend and thinking to myself, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm having this drink. I don't want to have this drink.
Yeah.
But here we are, poolside with a bar. Why not? And it was that realization in that moment of, I don't even want this anymore.
Yeah.
And it finally clicked with me. I didn't want it anymore. And I haven't missed it one day. I still celebrate every single day because we always have something to celebrate. And now our celebrations just look different and they feel different.
Tell me a little bit about that. Like, cause I love you started out like buying more to always celebrate. Right. And I've been there, but wrote the book, done that, right? Like the celebrating, but like, how do your celebrations feel different sober?
I feel more present in the moment. I don't feel like alcohol has a hold of me where I feel like I need to have a drink. I feel freer. I feel happier. I feel like I have more clarity, in the moment and the day after.
Yeah.
Because with me, it was just one or two drinks, and I was a lightweight. It didn't take a lot, but it was enough that it just made me not feel good. And to me, it just wasn't worth it. And now, just not missing it at all, and knowing that when we go out, I have more fun than I did when I was drinking because I don't have to worry about anything, right? Like I can go out and I can have a good time. I don't have to worry about, do I need to call an Uber? Do I need to have my friend drive me? Do I need to, make all these plans? Now I can go and I can have fun and I can drive myself home and I can wake up the next day and feel amazing. So yeah.
The amount of space alcohol takes up in our mind, we don't realize till it doesn't, right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, because like at 3 o'clock, you're like, okay, I'll open up all at 4 because I either had a good day or I had a bad day. And then, who's going to drive home? What am I going to feel like tomorrow? And then that just like opens up so much space for all the other big things you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, how did that change like your relationships, either like familial, like friendships? How did your decision to kind of eliminate booze change your relationships?
What's funny is previously it probably would have changed my relationship if I had decided to not drink for say 30 days. I would stay away from certain people because I just didn't want the temptation and I didn't want the judgment that comes with that. But since making the decision to finally go 100% sober, it hasn't really changed anything. I go out, my sister and I hang out. She has stopped drinking as well for now. And she is, we make our mocktails and, we have our special drinks and sometimes we'll put them in a fancy glass if we're wanting to feel fancy and celebrate a little more. But I'm honoring myself and my boundaries and loving myself, and it's showing like in all of my relationships. Everyone respects my decisions. Everyone has been great.
That's incredible. And do you think that just that confidence in your decision was a big piece of that?
Yes, because this is the first time that I've been confident in my decision to not drink.
And why is that, do you think, this time? Because you said you tried the 30 days here and there. Like, what was different now?
I'm a different person. I have been on this personal growth journey now for several years and going through mind magic and doing the inner work and healing on myself brought me to a place of self-love that I've never been. I am fully embodied every day in the feelings and emotions that I want to feel. And I don't want anything to take that away from me.
Yeah.
And alcohol took it away. It took it away in the moment. It would take it away at night when I couldn't sleep. and the next day when I felt sluggish and didn't feel myself, like I don't want that to be a part of my life anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. When I think you talk about like self-love, right? Because I think it's still part of the culture, what we hear in society, right? Of like self-care is a glass of wine at night, right? Self-care is going out with friends for happy hour. And like, but when it's such a good delineation to be like, that maybe used to be what I thought, but now it's like the complete opposite. Like I can't love myself and do something that's like my body is literally revolting against.
Yes, absolutely. And I used to think that self-care was that glass of wine.
Yeah.
And maybe in another version of myself it was. But in this new version of me, it's definitely not self-care anymore.
Yeah. So what is your kind of long-term goal with sobriety?
Long term is just taking it day by day, which is really, I think, all you can do. I don't like to look too far into the future because I want to be where my feet are. I want to be in the present moment. And I don't want the added stress of trying to worry about what might happen down the road.
Yeah.
So I think the important thing is just, being where your feet are at all times and just being present and honoring yourself and loving yourself every single day. And I feel like if you do that, you will want to make the best decisions for yourself, from your higher self. And that decision for me so far has been not drinking, and I feel like it'll just continue to be that.
Yeah, that's incredible. So are you like is it an intention every day to not have a drink, or has it become something that's not a big of a factor for you?
I don't even think about it anymore. I just don't. And I've been in places where we've gone out to a bar, we've gone dancing, and that was always a place where as soon as I walk through the door, I head to the bar because I need a drink in my hand so I can dance and have fun. And now my sister and I just walk up to the bar and we order our little club soda with a twist of lime, and we walk around and we have so much fun. Like it's funny how now, because I feel like making this decision and finally it clicked in my body, it clicked in my brain, it clicked in my heart, it clicked in all the places that I don't even miss it. Not only do I not miss it, but I don't want it. Like if someone were to offer me a drink, it's just not appealing to me.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Oh, I love that. So it clicked, you like said it clicked in all the places, like in your heart and your mind and your soul, like everything just clicked where it was just like, this is something that I no longer want to tolerate.
That's right.
And I know it's always hard to like look back, but like, do you believe that you, if you hadn't gone to this like up leveling, and I know personal development's been a party world for a long time, but really putting the effort in with your certification, like, do you think that opened up even the idea of being sober for you?
Yes. Because before it was more of, I didn't want to feel bad. Right. So like drinking kind of made me feel bad. It physically made me feel bad. Like I would get like needles in my jaw. Like it felt like needles, like I would have physical reactions to alcohol.
Yeah.
And for me, it was really embodying my highest self and realizing that I always want to be fully connected to my higher self and to God. And I feel, and this is my own personal journey, I truly felt when it all clicked and came into place for me, it was realizing that I didn't want that channel of communication closing.
Yeah.
I always want to be fully connected and fully open and available for all the things. So that's what did it for me.
Dang, that's beautiful. Yeah, that kind of it shuts off that connection, even one glass sometimes, right?
That's right.
Well, it's so fascinating too. So you had this like physical reaction, you didn't feel good, and even it still took you years before you actually like said no, right? Which shows the power of alcohol in our lives.
Yes, absolutely. And I even went to the extremes of, okay, well, I need to buy this kind of wine because it's all natural and it's
Yeah.
organic, and I'm just gonna drink, find ways to make it healthy,
Yeah.
right?
It's organic wine. It's good
It's
for
organic.
me.
That's right. And I would still have the same reactions.
Yeah.
So it was like I kept trying and kept trying and kept trying, and then I just realized, it just wasn't for me, but it was definitely, embodying my highest self that made
Yeah.
me realize.
Well, and I think that's why, like, I'm so passionate about the work that I do, is it's like, if it just doesn't align with who you want to be, like, do we want to do it anymore? Right. Like,
Right.
just like other things, right? There's people you don't tolerate. There's other things we don't tolerate in our life because it doesn't align. And I was like, I gave alcohol a pass for so long. I was like, no, it's fine. I can still do this and be this person and drink. I'm like, no, you really can't.
No.
Not anymore. You can't. Right. Maybe at one
Right.
point who I was at that time, but it's like, how do you, and I love that you just said it just clicked. And it's like, no, I don't even want these things anymore because it distracts this channel that's really important for me, right? Which is way more important than a skinny margarita,
Yes.
whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Well, talk a little bit about this celebration, because that seemed to be a theme of like what alcohol is before and it's a part of who you are now.
Mhm.
What, how do you keep those celebration? Because I know that's something that a lot of people talk about. How do you keep that celebration going without booze?
So I mean, you just keep it going. Like,
Mm,
you want to celebrate all the little things and all the big things, and however that looks to you, however that looks to you is how you need to celebrate. Sometimes, like I said, it's a mocktail in a
mhm,
fancy glass. Sometimes it's a really nice dinner.
mm,
Sometimes it's just hanging out with our friends and family, people
mm.
that we love, and just surrounding ourselves with people that we love, and that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. So that's what we're
Mhm.
really looking for, right? Is that love and connection.
Yeah.
Um, well, tell me, has there been a surprise for you that you're like, you did not realize would happen when you became sober? Is there anything that's been surprising?
You know, I guess the most surprising for me is that I don't miss it. I
Mm,
honestly felt like at one point that I wouldn't be able to quit. I
mm,
really felt like it was going to be something that I struggled with.
mm,
Um, and I, and maybe it makes me want to cry. I'm so happy that I have decided to truly honor myself and make that decision. And I feel like when you do make that decision from a higher place,
mhm,
it changes something inside of you.
mm,
It just does.
mm. Yeah, I can like feel that energy from you. And talk about like you had just kind of assumed like this is just who I am. I'm always gonna like stop drinking, want to stop. Like that's just how I'm made. Like what were the thoughts that came up for you? What additional thoughts came up for you during that time when you were kind of like, this is just how I'm gonna be? You remember?
Well, you kind of feel hopeless in a way. You kind of
Mm-hmm.
feel like um, you don't have control
Mm,
over something you feel like you should have control over.
yeah.
And I didn't like the way that felt. I don't
Yeah.
want anything having control over me, that much control. And so it definitely, I feel free.
Mm,
I don't feel like it's attached to me anymore, that um, because it kind of felt like it's just, like you said, it's just who you are.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's not just who you are, because you can choose different.
Mm, mhm, mm,
We always have a choice.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. You're talking about, celebration. I posted on this last week. Last week it was like I work on getting my website updated. It was our wedding anniversary. We were going out of town. I was an old friend, and it was so fascinating to like watch myself because I made the decision I wasn't going to drink that week. And I haven't had a drink probably for like 60 days ish. But it was so funny. I remember back when I was drinking, I would have been like resentful about those moments of celebration because I'd be like, I'm going to have a drink on Monday. I'm not going to go to the gym. We're going to be gone all weekend. I'll definitely drink too much when we go to dinner, or I'll have 3 glasses of wine. It'll be too many. I'm not going to get home on Sunday. I'm going to feel like crap on Sunday. And it was so fascinating to be like, it was a week of like great, great, great moments that I would almost resent, because I was like, well, I'm just going to feel like shit on Sunday because that's just what I do. And there was no other option. And it felt so good to go into a week and to be like, no, I can go do all these things and then go home and do my tennis match and then get ready for the week and like feel really good.
Yes.
Like it was such a shift of like, and I had a great time. Every moment I had a mocktail margarita. Like I was involved, I was present, like no regrets.
Yeah.
But like you said, I just, for so long, like, that's just kind of like who I am. Like, I'm not going to not drink on my anniversary. Like, that's weird. Can you do that?
Right.
You're like,
because
yeah,
we're
you can.
programmed, right?
Yeah.
We're programmed that if we're going to celebrate, especially something big like an anniversary, that we should have a glass of champagne or a glass of wine, or we should be celebrating with alcohol. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
You know, you can still have an amazing anniversary
Mm-hmm.
and have a glass of non-alcoholic bubbly whatever and still feel amazing.
Yeah. And it's just,
you know,
like you said, we just aren't conditioned to do that. And then you kind of think, and it's so intertwined that we're like, will I enjoy my time? You're like, I hope I enjoy my time with my spouse without wine, because like that's not good.
I know.
Yeah. But I think that celebration is so key, because you know, whatever it is, birthdays, anniversaries, big milestones, like it's like, how do you do those? And like, I love you said, you just do them.
That's
like,
right.
And you go to a nicer dinner, right? I'm like, if I want dessert, I'm getting dessert because I don't drink. So I could do that anyway. But you know, it's like, that's going to be my margarita, is like a brownie or whatever. And that's my celebration.
That's right.
But I love that. Like, you just do it.
Yeah. And it gets easier. The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah. What are you most proud of so far in your sober journey?
I'm just proud of honoring myself and knowing that, you know, I made this decision for myself, and I've gone back on it several times. And I'm just really proud of myself for honoring my own decisions and my own boundaries for myself, because that's super important for me.
And did you notice any effects after that? Not so much not drinking, but like the effect of honoring the commitment to yourself. Like, what did that do to you fundamentally as a person? Just like consistency of honoring that promise.
Yeah, it keeps me where I want to be. It keeps me embodied in the feelings that I want to feel every day.
Yeah.
In those elevated emotions of joy and peace and love and abundance, you know, all the things that I want to feel day in and day out, it keeps me in that place. But if I dishonor myself, then I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
And I'm falling into old patterns and old ways of being, and that's not who I want to be.
Yeah. That's great. One thing too, it's like that piece. You're not saying, if you have to choose between a glass of wine and honoring yourself, like it makes that decision really clear. Right. And so that's like what it is. It's not just saying, you know, one glass of wine probably is not that big of a deal, but like when it's like, but I'm dishonoring myself, like that's a really big deal. Like
it is.
That's like the conflict of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, if somebody was watching this and they're kind of like, you know, maybe in your space, right? Like, I'm not like, I don't drink a ton and I tried back and forth, but I really am doing some growth work. Like what's something you'd share with them?
You know, I would just share with them to honor themselves. You know, if it's a decision that you really want to make for yourself, you can. It's definitely doable. You know, really go in, and if there's any inner work, which we all have inner work to do on ourselves, and ask your angels and your spirit guides and ask God to really help you with that decision. And make that decision from your higher self. You know, what does your higher self want?
Yeah.
What decisions are going to lead you to your visions and your dreams that you have for yourself? You know, will alcohol get you there? Will it hinder you? You know, ask yourself those important questions and ask yourself, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Because it's not. It's just not.
Yeah. Well, somebody's like listening to, and they're like, okay, but like, how do I know it's my higher self and not something else? Like, how do you know it's your higher self?
Because it will feel aligned. So if you are struggling with this decision, and you are already asking yourself, should I be drinking? Should I have this glass? Then you already know that doesn't feel aligned with who you are and who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you know that your higher self is trying to come through and ask you, what is important to you?
Yeah.
What feels aligned to you? Because alcohol did not feel aligned to me anymore. It just didn't. It did not on every level. When I would order a drink, I knew I'm like, I'm ordering this drink. Do I really want it? No.
Yeah.
Can I stop myself from ordering it? No. Like I kept doing it.
Yeah.
Eventually you will get to a point where you really don't want it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it took me really embodying my highest self, wanting to stay fully connected to God, and to my angels and my spirit guides always, because I always want to be connected and receiving messages.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I think, what else you share too is like, anymore, right? So like letting go of the guilt and shame of like,
yes.
Or that's who I am, right? Because if you would have known better, if I would have known better, or you not known better, if it was our time, we would have done this a long time ago, right? So giving yourself the grace, like now is the time, and not beating yourself up. Just like, why didn't I quit 10 years ago? This would have felt better. And it's like, well, all we can do is now.
That's right.
But also that continuously checking in and being like, what is my higher self? Who is this version of myself I want to be? Does she give her power to alcohol? No, that's not who I want to be. And that daily check-in. And I love it that you're so clear. I can like see the passion in your eyes. Like nothing gets between me and my connection with my higher self. Like nothing.
Yeah. And you want to give yourself that grace. Like it's okay if you have a drink and then the next day you're like, why did I do that? Don't do that to yourself. Like love yourself, give yourself grace and compassion, and just know that every day you get to make a new choice. Every day is a new choice. So take it day by day, and that's really all you can do. And that's what I would tell people, like, just take it day by day.
And that check-in, right? Always like, who am I listening to? What version of myself am I listening to? Or going, I love that. Well, I'm curious, what does soberish mean to you?
What's funny is that you just asked that question. I'm actually reading your title, Soberish Uprising.
Yeah.
And, soberish can mean different things to different people. And, sober for me, like I said, is taking it one day at a time. Now, is that not to say that, a year down the road, someone offers me a glass of champagne that I might or might not take it? I don't know. Yeah. But I do know that I love myself enough that if I did have a glass, that I would love myself and I would give myself grace and compassion for the moment and not beat myself up about it.
Yeah. So
for me, soberish uprising and soberish living is do it on your terms. What feels good to you? Okay. Not what someone else is doing and how they're living their life. What feels good to you? What feels aligned with you? That's what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you too for sharing. Your sober journey is different than mine. It's different than everybody else's are sober, but it's like, what is that like inner knowing that we know?
That's right.
Well, Lori, I will link to get to you in the show notes because I know you do some great work in your space. Thank you for joining me and sharing about your journey, and congrats on your 3.5 months. And you'll have to come back in a year or so and update us on everything that's transpired since.
I would love to.
Awesome. And if you were listening, watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Please leave a review, share with a friend. That will help us get this message out. And for more information on myself and the work that I do in empowering people to find freedom from alcohol, you can visit soberishuprising.com. And remember, everything you want is on the other side of saying no to that drink. Have a good day.